What's up, guys? I'm Mikey, and this is Subculture City. Alright, so this month starts the DC relaunch. They're resetting all of their books to #1 and basically rebooting the continuity. So, today I'm going to review the flagship of the new series, Detective Comics #1. Right here. Okay. So this is a #1 story, and it's basically intended to let new readers into the DC universe. The book itself is supposed to be accessible to anybody, first-time readers and old readers alike. So, going through it, it's an alright book. There are things I like and there are things I don't like. I'm not particularly fond of Batman's new costume. It's a lot of armor, and the cowl looks a little bit weird. You get a nice full shot on the second page right here. I don't know if you can see it that well. Yeah, but I mean, it's an updated, modern look. The book's written and drawn by Tony Daniel, who also did Battle for the Cow, which I really enjoy. I don't enjoy this as much as I do Battle for the Cow. I think this might be a little less substantial than what he usually does. The art in this book is good. Like I said, I'm not really big on Batman's new look. The costume's a little weird for me. It's a little armory, and I'm not too big on that. But I like how the Joker looks. He looks really similar to the way he looks in The Killing Joke. Although there's a scene in the Batcave where you see him, he has like a mohawk, and that's kind of weird. Other than that, I like the art style. You know, it's darker. It looks a lot like Battle for the Cow, honestly, but I really like Tony Daniel's art. Other than that, I mean, Gordon looks good. Yeah, the only real qualm I have with it is Batman's outfit. In the book, Batman's been around for an amount of time. It doesn't really specify. The first panel, it says the Joker's committed 114 murders over the past 6 years. That doesn't really tell us if Batman's been around for 6 years, or if Bruce Wayne knew about the Joker before he became Batman and then went after him. Because later on in here, he says something about after all these months, the Joker's his, after he tries to stop him. So, the placement of this particular issue in terms of continuity isn't very clear. Going into the story itself, I'm going to try not to give any away really big spoilers, although there aren't many, but the way the issue ends is mildly shocking. So, what happens is Batman's around. He's tracking down the Joker. It seems as though I don't think this is their first meeting per se, but it's one of the first, or at least that's the way it seems, because he doesn't know too much about the Joker. He just he's working off guesswork. You know, he's working off conjecture based off what he knows about crime fighting and what he knows about serial killers, and trying to apply those methods to Joker, and it's not working because he's finding the Joker to be unpredictable. You first see him killing some guy, and he's naked, and Batman, he's supposed to be doing something for the Joker, and the Joker isn't pleased with it, or there's a reference to him not being in the loop, so it's made apparent that the Joker's working with somebody else, but that other person didn't show up, and the person he kills took their place, and he's not happy with it. There's a scene in here with Gordon and Batman that kind of sets up their relationship, and it also gives us some kind of context to the amount of time Batman's been around. The bat signal is there. Gordon states that he trusts Batman more than half the people on his force, but it doesn't say anything further. Batman incarcerates the Joker. He gets sent to Arkham, where the person he was originally supposed to meet up with shows up. So, once that person shows up, it leads to the cliffhanger ending, and the person's name is the Doll Maker, so I'm assuming he's going to be the big villain this arc. He's going to be like the Simon Hurt, or the criminal mastermind. So going into the issue itself, like, the plot was okay. It wasn't terrible and wasn't great, and I understand it's the first issue of a new series, so it can't be all that exciting. And the pacing's there. There's some parts that slow down a little bit too much or are too fast. A lot of the fight scenes are a little clunky and disjointed. Batman's second fight with the Joker fights him with a knife, and it's a little bit clunky. Like, there's not too much progression in action. It's like, it looks like still shot after still shot, like almost like a slideshow of different actions, like Batman slapping a gun. Then all of a sudden there's a knife in his shoulder, and you don't see the Joker go with the knife to stab him. It's just suddenly there's a knife in his shoulder. And I don't really like that. I like to see a little more progression of action in there. In terms of characterization, I feel like this book's trying really, really hard to appeal to what people think Batman is like. It's not a very subtle interpretation. Batman's very, like, you've got the little thought bubbles where you're inside his mind, and he's very, I am a detective, and because I'm a detective, I think this way. So, the Joker's running away from an explosion he caused, and Batman says, I've trained myself to always look for the anomaly in times of crisis. First instinct of an innocent person is to gauge their own safety, then curiosity, then voyeurism. A guilty person does one thing, flee. And I like this method of thinking, but I don't like how he says he's trained himself to look for the anomaly in times of crisis. I feel like it'd be more impressive if he just came out and said, the order, like, the first thing somebody does is this, second thing is this, and then, what a guilty person does. I don't like that he's so declarative. He's just, I've trained myself to do this because I'm Batman, and that's what Batman does. He tells us, he doesn't show us. But I would rather Tony Daniel show us what Batman can do, have him solve something, and then after, explain how he did it. Take us with him on his journey to solving these mysteries instead of us just watching him solve the mysteries, if that makes sense. I want to travel with the character. I want to be in his mind and be there, basically see it how he sees it. I don't want to be on the outside and just have him tell me how he knows these things. Other than that, there's a lot of talk about I am Gotham, I am the Knight, I am Batman, blah blah blah, and that all sounds like that particular strain of dialogue is so, for lack of a better word, tacky. It's just I can never imagine Batman really walking up to Commissioner Gordon and saying, I am Gotham, or Joker's running away and says, you can't go anywhere, I am the Knight. I understand that when he's trying to intimidate petty crooks and stuff like that, he plays up on their superstitions, but I feel like he should know, first off, he's not trying to intimidate Gordon, so there's no need to have that kind of, charade or facade up about him. He's not trying to intimidate Gordon, he's there to help him, and, speaking metaphorically like that, I get it's the mystique of his character, but it doesn't really, there's no point to it with Gordon, because Gordon's on his side. And with the Joker, I feel like the Joker's so far beyond that kind of intimidation, and I can kind of, understand if it's one of their first meetings and, he thinks he's susceptible to it, but prior to even finding the Joker, he talks about the way that the Joker thinks and how he can't get into the Joker's mind and all these things. And, if that's the case and you're already having trouble with it, you already know he's not your average criminal, so why are you going to approach him like he is the average criminal? I'm the Knight, fear me. I understand I'm being a little bit nitpicky with it, but I don't know. They're just dialogue things, it's important, it's in the writing. I get Tony Daniel is not, he's not primarily a writer, he's primarily an artist, he's turned writer, and that's fine. and he's doing a great job. You know, I like where the story is going. It's accessible, and you know, you can tell it's building up to a bigger arc already. It's not a standalone story. I feel like it's just okay for DC's flagship title. You know, the company is named after this book, and because it's its namesake, I feel like it should be its best, and this is not its best. I enjoyed this as much as I did Action #1, but nothing has really blown me away yet. Nothing's really impressed me. But overall, if I had to give this book a rating, I'm going to give it C plus B minus, based off the plot's there, but it's not really. It seems like more exposition than anything else. The characterization is off for Batman just a little bit, just in the dialogue, and I really like where it's going with the arc. I can tell it's going to be, you know, a game changer right in the beginning. So once again, Batman Detective Comics #1. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.